All right. Good morning. I'm Inga Cotton, and we're online for another Charter Moms chat. And it's 9 a.m. on Thursday, May 7th. And we have a guest today. We have Andrea Sabatino, who's the Director of Student Services at Brooks Academies. And she's qualified to talk about this situation from several different angles. She is a mom, so she's got let's see, three daughters. So Valentina is 14 months, and then Viviana is in 7th grade, and Diana is in 8th grade. And they are both students at Brooks Collegiate Academy, which is a charter school at 410 in Vance Jackson. And Andrea also works at Brooks as Director of Student Services. So she's been overseeing special ed, GT, 504, all the extra services that students get and how they're able to provide those through virtual learning. So she's experiencing virtual learning like from the education side of like providing those services to students, and also her daughters are experiencing it at the kind of junior high school level. And her husband is a nurse; he's an essential worker, so their family has had to adjust to working life. Oh, and by the way, Lizzie the dog is at her feet, right? Working from home. So we've got a lot to talk about today, right, Andrea?
Yes, we are very busy in this house. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I think the first thing I wanted to cover in our chat today was just how family life works, right? Because you've got a 7th grader and 8th grader, you have the baby, you have the dog, and then you have your husband, who said he's a nurse, but he's off work today. But we've had to adjust to like what his procedures are when he comes home. Right? So tell us about that, about like family life during coronavirus.
Well, along with the rest of the community adapting to the health epidemic that we are facing, we have adopted some new routines in our house. When Dad comes home, he quickly goes straight from the garage to the shower. He gets himself cleaned up. Baby had some trouble adjusting to that because she's used to Daddy coming straight to her when he gets home. So quickly, with a couple of days of the routine, she now sees him walk in. She says, "Dad," and he walks past her, and she's fine with it. She knows to wait until he comes out of his shower, and then it's daddy-daughter time. So this is something that we have also had to adjust to. The big girls have adjusted to staying home. We were active in sports, in the community. We enjoyed movies and parks together, but we've had to make some significant adjustments to our entertainment schedules. We are doing lots of walks in the neighborhood. We are spending a lot of time in the backyard. It's warmed up, so we're starting to maybe spend a little time in the water outside. Those sorts of things are different, but they are very enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, that shows, your story shows how we do rely on routines, and that even though like we're not doing things the way we did back in February, but we can kind of find new routines and then get a level of comfort and security from that. I think kids benefit from that, right? Having things that are predictable for them.
Definitely. I can note that we are all eating better because we have more time for cooking. We have more time for meals. We're sitting down and spending more time visiting. We are all sleeping better. I think not so much rush has really done a lot for our bodies. The big girls and I have started a little yoga during the week. That was on my list of things to put into our routine. We haven't done it daily, but we have done a couple of sessions. Those things are great for the body.
Yeah, new habits to pick up.
Yes.
So one thing that let's see. So I mean, since you've got like each kid kind of has their own needs and their own schedules, right? And then so it takes kind of a teamwork approach, right? Of there's your work schedule and then your husband's work schedule, right? And since he's a nurse, he might be working different hours. And then you've got the young child, and then
Yes.
2 kids who are in school and stuff. So do you have any advice for families who are juggling like multiple siblings, different schedules, like parents with different work schedules? How to communicate, how to plan ahead, things like that.
So we work a lot on an incentive system in our house. Some of the things that the girls like to earn is get to pick what's for supper, or get to pick what we watch on TV as a family. And in order for them to earn those incentives, they help me by watching their sister for periods of time during the day. And everybody seems to be happy with that method. I have also have to find that schedules are imperative for all of us, especially the baby with her schedule. Keeping her on her sleep schedule benefits everybody
Right.
else during the night, those sorts of things.
Right.
And I have lots of alarms going off in my phone all day long. I rely heavily on those,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that seems to really help us. I should have brought for you my visual schedule. Let me grab it. It's right here.
Oh, that sounds good. And actually, yeah, we relied on it's something back in March. I just made a Google sheet with our calendar, and then every week I kind of copy it over to a new sheet and make some edits to it. So I'm gonna hold up. I think y'all may have the readers may see this, but that's kind of our
Yes,
family spreadsheet. It's got
you have
maybe
to.
I'll hold this up so you can see it. This is kind of our like spreadsheet that we made, and it's got
Yes,
we keep adding things to it, right? Of like like you mentioned yoga, right? So we added like our indoor PE time, right? It's like, okay, time for
yes,
push-ups, or like the coding class that the kids want to do, right? So you got to set aside
yes.
time to write to do the coding, to turn in the project, to try to win the
That's
prize,
right.
or
That's right. There's a lot more to it. I've
yeah.
had to put this I put this in the back of my computer. Let me see. Can you see
Ah,
this?
oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I see the yellow.
Let me get
Oh,
myself.
the paperclip. The paperclip marks
Yes,
what you're on. Okay, that's
yes.
awesome. Okay.
And this has helped me tremendously for times that I have to focus. If I'm on
Mhm.
a deadline for a project, if I am in something that's very detailed that requires consistent attention for a period of
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
I've had to use a chart like this really for my older daughters to help monitor when they can come and talk with me or when they need
yeah,
to sort of wait just a couple of minutes and let me
yeah.
finish.
Okay, so after this call, I hope you'll take a picture of that and text it to me. I'll share it in the group so that everybody might want to make their own version of that. That's a really good communication tool. And just
Okay.
like just let people know what's on your mind. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
yeah. That's yeah. I mean, scheduling is the only way to stay sane, right? Because like we have all this
Yes.
time open to us, but if you're living and working with other people, you have to be on the same page, and you have to, respect each other. Yeah, it's great that the big girls are helping out with the baby too,
They
and
are, I couldn't do it without them. I really couldn't. Yes.
yeah, and I think that's kind of a segue to so on certain days like today, so today's a Thursday, so this is when they are logged in to their class, their virtual classes, right? And that's
Correct.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday they have a different set of work to do. So maybe you could talk more about how virtual learning is working at Brooks, and like how your daughters are experiencing it, how, kind of how their schedule works.
Sure. So the Brooks approach for middle school and high school has been that they have class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Class starts at 7:30, which is the same time it started when they were attending the brick and mortar campus. They are required to wear their Brooks t-shirt or their uniform shirt each class period. They log in through Zoom to their classroom and they attend every class to include study hall, PE, art, every elective. Each teacher has a 45-minute or a 40-minute, I think it's just a little shorter than 45 minutes slot. The student's attendance is taken when they log in. Um, and they attend each class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This allows for them to have some independent work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They usually receive their assignments in a chunk early in the week, and they're due either Friday or Monday of the following week. They, in addition to independent work on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, each teacher has a virtual office period where students can sign up for some additional support from each teacher. And they can ask additional questions about assignments or about grades. And both of my girls have utilized that quite frequently during this virtual period. So they have carried on.
Yeah. So I can see some benefit. Well, the students may not appreciate it, but I think as a family, there's benefits to having something you have to be prepared and ready to do at 7:30 a.m., right? Because it means that nobody's sleeping till noon, like, ever, because there's those other days where you have to get up and get going, right?
That's right. I think they were anticipating that they were going to be on summer break and going to start sleeping in, but these virtual days have definitely kept them on a consistent schedule. And I think that it's been keeping them on some healthy habits, keeping them moving, keeping them with a lunch break, and they break at the same time in the afternoon. Those things are important for all kids.
Yeah.
The elementary students also have virtual schedules. They don't have quite as long a block in one period of time because, as we know, for those younger students, maintaining attention for 8 hours is a long time. So they have varied schedules, but they do also attend every class. And they also receive the individual classroom, virtual classrooms where either students or parents can meet with teachers for additional help.
Yeah, that's great. That I imagine it's strengthened their relationship, or it's maintained their relationship with their teachers, right? That the fact that
Definitely.
they see them that often and they're interacting regularly, and yeah, and then they feel like they can come to them for help, for like the one-on-one time. Um, yeah,
I
I
can
can.
speak from the parents' perspective. I never experienced exactly how these teachers taught my girls. And that has been a very interesting and eye opening experience for me. And I think probably for all parents, because it's one thing to meet somebody, but to see their teaching skills in action, to see the different approaches that they take, to see how well your child responds to those different approaches is some wealth of information that we're able to gain during this virtual period. I never would have been able to see what the PE coach does with my girls, but now I can see. And it's great. It's wonderful. I think it's given the Brooks parents a very deep insight to the education that their students are receiving at all campuses.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's almost like you can. It's like getting a campus tour, but you can. But since it's virtual, right? It's not limited by like how many people, right? Because you can't have like every parent coming on campus all the time. I mean, it creates chaos and distraction. But if you're the parent kind of listening over the shoulder, while your kids are in their virtual class, then you get to see what's going on, and it's great that it's been a positive experience, because some friends I've talked to, they're like, really? That wait, another worksheet? What? Like, wait, like, that's not what I thought they were doing, or maybe so, right? So it's good that it's a positive experience, because I think some families are, they may or may not be happy with what they're seeing, but yeah, it just tells you that it's a good fit, and that Brooks is a good place. So
Mhm. And every class is recorded through the Zoom platform. So if there are any questions or concerns that have come up, we also have the ability as a district, and parents can always make this request that we can go back and review that tape to see how those students were engaging with the teacher, to see how the teacher was engaging with the students, to monitor those kinds of things. And that's definitely not an ability that we had before this virtual platform.
right, right, that's amazing. Okay, I think there's other. Um, Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, that's a big commitment to have, every class meeting. I mean, it's only 2 days a week, but, but I mean, that's making sure that's creating a lot of participation, from the students. And, that's keeping a lot of continuity going, compared to what the program was like before. Try to I don't want to leave anything out, any like important stuff about. I guess. Well, why don't we talk about? Okay, you mentioned that. Since like you have this dual perspective of like you have your daughters are at Brooks Collegiate Academy, but also you work at the district office as the director of student services. So you're seeing like how Brooks is providing like special education services and general ed to the students with special needs, and like it was because we as we talked about kind of before this show, is that there are so many different kinds of services that y'all have found a way to provide teleservices, for, and it's not the same as face to face, but I mean, I was just amazed by the innovation, of like what things you are able to provide. So maybe you could like talk more about like the things like the like speech therapy, OT, like dyslexia services, like ELL, like how those students are able to continue to be served even while the campus is closed.
I certainly have to give the credit to where it's due, which is to our amazing faculty and staff. They have been highly proactive in working to find ways to provide their services, working to be sure and reach each and every student and make sure that they have the modalities to have access to every service. As a district, Brooks has reached out to any families who were not initially logging into the virtual platform, and we have helped to troubleshoot the reasons that they were not able to log on. If the family did not have enough technology devices, the district has checked out Chromebooks to students of any grade level. The district has also helped to inquire. We have a wealth of resources that are helping to provide home internet to families who do not have internet services. And we have even gone as far as provided a hotspot to some families where those services were not available or where we ran into some sort of a glitch with those programs so that we could ensure, number one, each student has access. From that point, our teachers and paraprofessional staff were relentless in meeting with parents and being sure that the schedule that they were offering worked for the parent schedule. I have some students who receive services at 5:30, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening because parents wanted to be there or because the student was not available until that time. For special education services, they are receiving the same number of hours that all the general education students are receiving in that same grade level. I have a staff of very strong paraprofessionals who works one-on-one with the students, and the special ed teacher oversees and provides time so that she has individual face time with each and every student as well. One of the biggest challenges was our resource teachers, because that's the classroom where the students can drop in and out. And I think the challenge was encouraging students to drop into that virtual classroom. So
Right.
what we ended up doing was working hard and requiring the students to log in for the first couple of weeks. And then it was no longer a requirement. We allowed them to come in at their leisure. And guess what happened to our numbers? They about maintained the same.
Wow.
So we have students dropping in. In addition to that, with those virtual classrooms being open, we can also offer services to gen ed students who may need some tutoring support.
Right.
To students who are learning English as a second language, they can also come in and get some tutoring support, either from a paraprofessional or from one of their gen ed or special education teachers. Speech therapy was a challenge because there were some legal issues with their licensure. That was quickly resolved by the state of Texas within about 2 weeks. As soon as
Wow.
Texas resolved it, we are also providing speech therapy and occupational therapy services virtually. This is really very different from the way speech therapy has been provided in the past, and we were very unsure how that was going to work. But from all of my therapists, they report that this has been a wonderful experience. The parents are able to see, they're directly observing speech therapy sessions. Some
Wow.
of my therapists
Yeah.
are recording short YouTube clips of sessions because some students learn best from repeated practice and repeated
Yeah.
exposure. And so by recording a YouTube video, the parent can access that video as many times as the child needs so that they can grasp new concepts. So
Yeah.
that's been a
I
great
know
tool.
that as my son received speech therapy, he still qualifies for it in school, but he had private speech therapy for a long time. And what we found was that the more I knew what we were supposed to be practicing at home, the faster the progress he made. And it felt like
Yes.
with the private speech therapy, we could sometimes make faster progress because every session she would check in with me and say, "Okay, mom, here's your homework. Do this with your son." And whereas at school, I feel like I didn't have enough insight into what they were doing. And it's like it's nobody's fault. It's just we were so even though we could see each other face to face, we were disconnected because we didn't, we weren't in the same place at the same time with the meeting of the minds of communicating about it, right? And then, but if a parent, like you said, like as you were talking about, with like you can look over your daughter's shoulder and see what they're doing in PE class, right? And parents whose children are in speech therapy, they can listen in and they're like, oh, they're practicing, the th sound, right? This is how we can practice the th sound, right? And then that's, I mean, that's just a beautiful thing. Like the innovation, like let's find a way to do this, let's try this. And then the technology is bringing people together, and it's helping students to grow.
It absolutely has. It has been a tremendous closure of a gap that we really didn't see as being such a significant need, but we are seeing the true value of being able to connect like that. The other thing that it has been able to connect is professionals, like among campuses or
Mm,
between grade levels, because sometimes during the day to day we are so busy, but it is very easy to schedule a 10 or 15-minute block to meet with somebody virtually, to connect and share information, and then to disperse that information more quickly. So we are seeing that the technology is a great tool that we may continue to use for a lot of
mhm.
different reasons, even when we do return to the quote unquote regular school setting. So we have been overcome a lot. We've been able to overcome lots of obstacles that we were not thinking we would be able to be successful so quickly, but we truly have, and it has totally been attributable to our faculty and staff who are just so dedicated to what they do. Same with dyslexia. We provide dyslexia services virtually. Parents can see what the students are working on with a teacher, and they can continue those habits. And like you say, that's how the kids make more progress,
Yeah,
is with that
yeah.
connection between teachers and parents. I think on that note, seeing as how the students are only going to school 2 days a week, it is definitely not the same as them attending every day.
Right, right.
And as we know, all students have their strengths and they have their areas of need. This is something that, as a district, that Brooks is trying to address and figure out some ways to support all students in each one of those areas. And coming up on the horizon here shortly for summer is they are working on putting together some summer camps, sort of some summer boot camps.
Mm,
They will be
right.
for a small fee, but it is very affordable for every family, where families can consider what areas their individual students really could use some extra support in and just target those areas. I have
Mm,
one child who is super strong in math, but reading and language arts is an area that she struggles in. So I think we're going to pick up some reading boot camps during the summertime.
yeah.
And I have another child who is very strong in reading, but math is not her friend. And we are going to try to become more friendly with math and do a little more math boot camp so that she can continue to feel ready when we get back to school next year. And the technology allows us to provide just one course, and any student from any campus can enroll. I
Oh, wow.
understand, though, that Brooks is going to open up that anybody in the community can sign up
Oh, wow.
and
Okay,
can join virtually.
okay.
So I think that's something that parents can be looking out for, and
Yeah. I'll be
certainly
sure to I'll keep
it's
in touch with
ready.
Lisa and Jason and get all the details. We'll share that in the, Charter Moms
Great.
discussion group, and yeah, yeah, that sounds wonderful. You know, but, like, as you've mentioned multiple times, but it's worth reinforcing, like, a lot of it comes down to the teachers and their commitment and how much they care about the students, and the fact that they want to get the job done, and they will find a way to deliver the information even through, a little computer screen.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Even if it's through just a phone and being
Yeah.
able to communicate, even if it's just a speaker phone call and being able to have a little bit of interaction, they have worked really hard to be able to continue to meet each student's the goal, which is for everybody to continue learning.
Or even like OT and PT. That was something that you mentioned when we talked before. Was like how hard it is to like describe to a parent. Okay, hold your child's hand this way, and then do this, right? And you said that one teacher will use her own child as a sort of a model and be like,
Uh-huh. She had to say, "Come here, let me have your hand." And she said, "Mom, I want you to hold it like this and turn it this way," and to actually show the parent. And so we are learning, we're getting creative and we are learning. Zoom actually has a lot of tools. There's a virtual whiteboard that you can share. You can
"Oh
share your
yeah."
computer screen. And
Yeah, my,
so
my daughter my daughter keeps teaching me these. She's like, "Mom, you know nothing about Zoom." Yeah, my daughter who's 10, right?
they are
It's like
learning,
pitiful.
these kids.
Yeah, they are.
They
They
are
are. Yeah.
using this technology.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, we're gonna get a cameo here.
Oh, let's see. Good morning. Hi. She's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's a Zoom pro, and she's trying to talk me into like learning how to change my background. That's on the to-do list. I still don't know how
Yes.
to do it. I have a laptop that will do it, and yeah, that's on the What? Show you now. No. We'll do it. We're live. We'll do it later. Okay, but yeah. At some point, there'll be like changing backgrounds. It will just be my Texas map that I have in the background.
That's there you go. There you go.
The usual background. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Okay. It's kind of a random question, but okay. So how, what communication tools? Zoom is the platform for like having the video chats. But is there like a parent portal, or is it through email, or like other ways that people are connecting?
Mm-hmm. We do have a parent portal. Primarily, this is the way that we receive information about grades and attendance. But most teachers are using Google Classroom, which, as we know, Google Classroom is a beautiful tool that can do all kinds of things for us. So it's a combination primarily of the Zoom and the Google Classroom.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's how they organize. They distribute the assignments that way. That's how students can like scan things and turn them in, or like fill in the forms, or things like that. Okay,
that's right.
Interesting to know. Right. Yeah.
Some of the teachers are doing their assignments. They're sort of electronic. Maybe they're through Google Classroom. They're electronic assignments. They take their quizzes online, and then their quizzes are automatically graded. They immediately get that immediate feedback of how they're doing. They are also able to. I saw one teacher gives a quiz. I don't know how often she gives it out, maybe once every couple of weeks, to my daughter in the 7th grade. And it was just a 1-question quiz. How am I doing? And the options were, I need more time for my assignments. I'm not understanding my assignments. I'm doing great. Don't need any support, or I am totally lost. So she's just sort of keeping an individual gauge.
A temperature check. Yeah.
Because some students are not always wanting to call attention to themselves during that Google Classroom, but at least that quiz is still one more method for them to be checking in on everybody and see if there are any additional needs that need to be met.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like that. I mean, this is a tough situation. I know this week in particular, I've been trying to stay positive, because last week I got a little grouchy about, like, what is it going to be like in the fall? And like, there's so much uncertainty, so many unknowables, right? But this week I've been trying to stay positive on the videos. And so I know that I'm sure your daughters miss being on campus, and they miss being able to see their friends face to face. And, but it seems like that there is good coming out of this. And I think we can all be hopeful that some of these, like the teamwork and the flexibility and like the digital connectedness, that we can keep those things going, even after the physical distancing is resolved. That there will be good that comes out, and the way, like, how our family life works, and how we're taking care of ourselves, and taking time to talk and listen and do things together as a family. Hope those
definitely. And each and every one of us is teaching our kids how to overcome adversity, how to problem solve, and not everything that we have tried has worked. We are showing our children how to overcome and try again, and make lemons out of lemonade, figure out a way to get around it, and keep moving. So I think that's probably the most important life skill that we can demonstrate for our kids, because this will certainly not be the last time they're faced with a challenge. And we could either start with summer break on March 12th, or we could keep learning. And it works. We've chosen to keep learning, and it has worked. So we are really proud of that. We are continuing to try new ideas and figure ways to be more effective for each and every student. Virtual learning is not the best method for every single student.
Right.
So we're still working hard to find ways to meet each student's needs, just like we did when we were in the brick and mortar campus.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been just a wonderful conversation, and I'm just so pleased we covered so many different things. Family life, virtual learning, special education. It's been really a joy having you on the show. And so I usually close out with a little teaser about the next day's topic. But did you have any kind of final words, or anything, any closing message you want to share with the listeners?
I think the last thing I'd like to say is that I think what it takes is a village. We are all learning. It takes strong teachers. It takes strong students. It takes strong staff. And it takes strong parents. And we all have to work together. Ms. Schutz, the superintendent, one of the things that I admire about her most is that she is a listener. She takes ideas from parents, from any campus, from any parent, and she works really hard to put them into place in order to be successful. And I'm really proud to be part of a team that has that goal in mind and that mindset. Thank you
That's
so much for
amazing.
having me. I appreciate
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah. Okay. And then the teaser for the listeners tomorrow, we're going to talk about the Greenway trails. That's what my family and I have been doing a lot. So we're going to kind of
Oh,
share
cool.
our experiences about the Greenway trails because it's a safe way to, you've talked about going walks in your neighborhood, but if you want to go on a longer walk, there are miles and miles of Greenway trails in San Antonio. So we're going to, I'll just be sharing about my family's experience with that. So no guests tomorrow, but it'll be based. So I hope you'll tune in unless you're on a Zoom meeting at work, but
I'm going to really try. And I hope you guys get
okay.
nice weather. I haven't looked at the weather tomorrow, but it's nice
No,
and
it's
cool.
not that hot yet. Yeah, it's not that
Yes,
hot
it's
yet.
great.
Yeah. So we'll
Great.
enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah. Well, good. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thanks for being on the
Thank
show.
you. Great to see you.